Hi guys, welcome to this video. I'm Stefan with Real Fitness Coaching and this is your real-time workout. Today we are going through a total body mobility routine. Now this is going to be great for you if you have been working out and you're feeling that delayed onset muscle soreness, if you're feeling stiff from workouts or stiff from being at the desk, maybe you've been working and haven't been moving enough. We always feel better when we move, release endorphins and just get the body recovering well. Maybe your sleep hasn't been great. Again, you're feeling stiff because of lack of sleep, lack of recovery. This is going to help with all of those things. We're going to be going for about 25 minutes. We're going to start off with our warm-up, which we're going to begin with right now. Hands on hips, going into hip circles. Take the hips out and around into a nice big circular fashion. Okay, hands on the hips will help you kind of guide the hips. This can be a little bit tricky coordination for some people, but use the hands to give you that extra little bit of guidance going out and around. You can rock the feet from side to side. You're really just looking to feel how much movement there is in the hips, okay? The linchpin between the upper body and the lower body. So I like to start these warm-ups with hip movements and just taking the hips out and around to the sides. We're going to do a couple more and then change direction. You can feel the glutes on the outside edge. We'll change direction now. So the hips on the outside, the glutes, the IT band, you might feel the groin, the inner thigh, that might feel a bit tight. As you go back, you might feel the lower back's a little bit tight as you compress. Or going forward, you might feel the hip flexors are tight. But working slowly to improve that range of movement, not forcing the body into a position it doesn't like, but just getting a feel for what the body is going through today. We're going to go up and over with the hands. And we're just going to shift our weight from side to side. Turning the foot, you can see the back foot's just going to lift on the ball of the toe, so I can rotate a little bit, taking the arms up, getting a nice gentle movement from side to side, up and over. I can even start to side bend a little bit more as well. So these big movements to begin with, getting the warmth into the body, melting that toffee, just getting everything a bit more pliable, a bit easier to move before we get into the main bulk of this mobility routine. All right, from here, going to blend in a nice low to high rotation, a little bit of turn through the feet. See that same movement, pivoting on the ball of the toes, shifting my weight from left to right, from foot to foot, so I'm getting good at balancing whilst being in a dynamic setting. So I'm mobile and dynamic, but I'm also stable as I move. Hands coming down just about knee height. Go as low as is comfortable for you. And one more. And then we're going to go on to the other side again. Blend these movements in. The more you do them, the more you'll find you can just naturally move from one into the next. Keeping stable, gently drawing that navel in so you can feel the core gently engage. And as you do these rotations, then get a feel for the relationship between the hips, the rib cage, the core muscles, and the upper body. So stretching through the back and the obliques as we go low to high rotation. Nice work. Feet flat, feet apart, hands up, turn. We're going to trace a big circle down, up and around. Now, to stop feeling dizzy, just look at a space, a point, a fixed point on the floor in front of you, maybe a meter or so. That way you can turn the body, get that good dexterity all the way through, but without turning the head and making yourself feel off balance. Nice big turn from the top, back in the other direction. And notice how I'm turning as I'm moving this circle down, up and around, stretching the back, getting low, and the shoulders as well. We're reaching the hands up, keeping that core gently engaged as we move through. Perfect. Sideways on, we're going to a pendulum swing, a ski jumper, down and up, reaching high to decompress and stretch on the way up, and back, keeping my weight balanced, weight into my heels, centered so I don't feel like I'm going to topple backwards or forward. And it's going to encourage a bit of movement through the ankles, the knees and the hips. Breathing in and out. Good. Really taking those arms up and opening up the chest as we get to the top. Good. One more. All right. So, with the feet flat to the floor, I'm going to reach up with one hand as high as I can, but at the same time I'm going to reach down. So I'm going to get into that side bend. And that's going to bring a stretch all the way down the side of the body. Between the ribs and the low back, and even down to the hip, the IT band and top of the hips. Nice and slow. We're keeping this movement going, keeping it nice and consistent, and improving that range of movement, encouraging more range the more we move. All right. Okay, sideways on. Feet apart, I'm going to walk out. So fingertips to the floor, down to the palms, high plank, and then I'm going to walk back. I'm going to try and keep those knees straight. It's a bit easier with the feet wider. That's why we're starting there. Going to work for the shoulders and the core as we get into that high plank at the end. Also the wrists and the muscles in the hand and the fingers as well as we walk out. Good. This one, I'm going to bring my feet a bit closer together. See if you can do the same. Keep those legs straight from a narrower stance. Walk it back. And you're actively pushing back, pushing yourself back from that high plank with the hands. One over the other. Try and get those legs as straight as you can. And staying out on this one, we're going to drop the knees down and drop the hips just as low as they're happy to go. Navel drawing in. Make sure the lower back is safe and happy. Shoulders back. Okay. From here, going to come up with those hips. Walk the hands back. Touch. 1, 2. And then walk the hands back again. Knees down, hips low, core engaged. Shoulders back. Nice deep breath. Up on the toes, going to bring those hips up. Walk the hands back just a space or 2. Touch, touch, and then walk forwards. Last time, knees down, navel in, drop the hips just as low as you can. Shoulders back. Nice deep breath. One more. Toes up. Push those hips up. And then one hand touching the toes. And again. Back to that high plank position. You can bring the feet apart a little bit. Going to bring one foot forward. So if my left foot comes forward, my left hand then is going to reach up. So it's the same side hand as that forward foot, reaching high. So I'm into a groiner step with this T rotation, thoracic spine rotation. Stretching the chest and the shoulder. So bring the arm up and back, and then back to the floor. Going to switch the feet. So now my right foot forward, my right hand up, opening, spreading those fingers wide, bringing that hand back to stretch the chest and the shoulders. Down to the floor, switch the feet, and again, up, into the air. Really open everything up as much as you can. Nice deep breath. Hand back to the floor, and step to switch the feet. Second time on this second side. Good. Nice and tall, reaching as if towards the ceiling. And back. And bring the feet back together and walk slowly, hand over hand. Straight legs again, back to that standing position. From here, feet wide, a little bit wider than hip width, and then turn the feet to the side. Rear hand is going to go up, a straight line from heel to hand and then down. Straight legs if we can. Now I'm turning my body, opening up in the same way as we did with our T rotation into this windmill stretch. Feeling the inner thigh and the side of the body. And a deep breath. Coming back up. Reaching nice and tall, high to the ceiling. Down we go, second time. Working that balance. Looking to get those fingertips down to the floor. Lower if you can. The more you do this, the lower you'll be able to get. And again, open up. And then reach high toward the ceiling. And third of three, down we go. Maybe we can get just a little bit lower this time. Turning the body sideways just as much as you can. And then coming back up. Good, so that's three. We're going to turn the feet and go three to the other side. So that rear hand straight up into the air. Down. That lead hand against the leg for balance. Again, that lead leg, the inner thigh, the hamstring getting that stretch. Side of the body on the upward facing side. Open up. Not uncommon to find that you can get more movement on one side than the other. We're looking to balance that out over time. Take a deep breath. Reaching high, and second time of the three, down we go. Nice and slow. Hold that position. Again, maybe a little bit lower this time. Opening up, turning, and reaching high. One more to go. Down, hips back, hand down, and pushing against the leg for that extra little bit of rotation. Stretch the chest and shoulder. Deep breath. Reaching high. Alright, from here, hands together. Going to reach those hands up as tall as we can. Decompress the spine. Heels flat to the floor. We're going to side bend over. That long reach, that extra leverage. You can really feel that strong stretch down the side of the body. Just as low as you can go. Little pulsing movements. Almost bouncing at the end range. Up and over. Gently draw that navel in. Make sure the core is switched on, is engaged through all these positions. Stretching here the lats and the intercostals right the way down the side of the body. All that lateral fascia. Up. Second time on this side. Hips can shift out as the hands go down. And hold that position. Up. And the second time on this second side. A really good stretch, this one. Opening up that space between the ribs and the hips. Common that we lose a lot of space in that area and get the back very tight over time. Sideways on. Stepping 1 foot forward, just a small step, bend that rear knee, and I'll reach my hands down. Feeling that hamstring stretch. Slowly coming back up. I'm going to switch my feet. Bend that rear knee down. If I can, fingertips to the floor. Maybe you can only go to the toes or the foot or the shin. But just as low as you can go. Coming back up. Switch the feet again. Straight leg on that front side. And I'm thinking about tilting the tailbone back and up. Getting as much distance between the heel and the hip as I can. All the time. Letting those breaths come nice and slowly. Again, pulsing at the end range, those little bouncy movements. Just encouraging, without stressing, just encouraging a little bit more movement. Good. Okay. Last one on this side. Slowly coming up, feet apart. We're going to go into a walkout down to the knees. I'm going to bring my knees wide and my feet wide. Elbows on the floor, and I'm going to sit my hips back, getting into my adductors, the inner thighs, getting a stretch. And the more I sit back towards my heels, the more I'm going to feel that stretch on the inner thigh. Definitely not one to force. Just gently go, observe exactly what you're feeling. If that's really tight, then just take it as far as you can. Maybe a 6.5 to a 7 out of 10. At most a 7. If you're used to this one, you know your body a bit more, then you can coax it. But often a very tight area, the groin, the hip. Just like the shoulder, you want to be careful. It's a joint with a big range of movement, but over time, sitting down, lots of reasons why it can get very stiff, and gradual improvements are far better than straining and risk injury to try and force the body to do something it's not happy to. Gently moving the body forward now onto the elbows, so there's less tension there in that stretch. Sitting back nice and slowly. Come back into that stretch a second time. That's how we do these multiple repetitions. And that's because the body can acclimate to it a second and a third time. And you'll feel more freedom of movement, more ease getting into those positions a second time, a third time, even a fourth time. And multiple times through a week. And over the month as well. Okay. Give the body time to adjust. Okay. Forward onto the elbows. Going to bring those knees back into the center line. From here, I'm going to a high kneeling position. I'm going to stretch the quadricep on my rear leg. Balancing first. I'm going to reach back so I can hold on to my foot. If you need something to stabilize yourself, a wall or a foam roll or something like that, that's okay. So arm is straight, core is engaged, and then I'm going to sit my hips forwards. That's going to increase that stretch on the rear hip and the rear thigh without having to do a lot of work pulling the foot towards me. Deep breath. And ease into it. Hold that position. Good. From here, I can gently encourage the heel towards my hip. And that's going to increase that stretch. But as I'm already forward with my hips, it's already in a strong stretch position. Coming back up, the heel comes down. I'm going to go into the hamstring stretch now on the lead side. Simply hinging, we haven't changed feet. But I'm going to go with my hands down for balance. Again, a nice deep relaxing breath. This is going to feel Tight stretch from the hip down, even into the calf as well, but the back of the knee to the hip is where I'm going to get that hamstring stretch. Now with the hamstring already on a strong stretch, I can gently draw my toe up towards me. It's going to bring on the calf, but it's going to crank that stretch up on the hamstring, so slowly and gently by drawing the toe up. Again, I can do this in repetitions. I can ease it off and bring it back. Nice and slow. And that's just going to get the nervous system to get on board with what I'm trying to do. Relaxed. Drawing that long line of tension through from the hip to the heel now. Still dynamic, it's still movement involved. Coming back up, that high kneeling position. If I need to adjust this foot, I can. And go ahead and reach back, making it as easy as possible to get to that foot. Navel drawn in, hips forwards. Getting that strong stretch through the rear thigh and the rear hip. Feels already like I'm a bit further forward than before. Nice and open through this shoulder and chest on the side of the rear arm. Gently now, I can pull the heel up. Doesn't need to be a lot of work to get a good stretch. Okay. And coming back, letting that heel drop. Hinge onto that lead leg again, second time of 2. First of all, just the hamstring. Hips back. And feeling for that new end range with these pulsing movements here. Keeping those slow breathing going, slow breaths. Gently now, starting to draw the toes up. And relax. Bringing it on again. It's like asking permission almost for this stretch to occur. And one more. Good. Alright, slowly coming up. I'm going to switch to that high knee position on the other side. I'm going to repeat that sequence now. First of all, the core engaged. Get balanced, bring the hand back, make it easy to grab that foot, and then sink forward. Arm long, chest open, and feeling for that hip and quadriceps stretch. Use the breathing. Easy to underestimate that breathing, how much of an effect it can have on relaxing the body. Gently pulling the heel towards the hip. Keep that balance, core engaged, tall in my posture. And releasing the foot as I come back into that hamstring stretch. First of 2 on this side. Hands down for balance. Getting as stable as you can, holding these positions. And gently testing, encouraging and testing for that in range. Slowly now I'm going to bring that toe up and get the calf stretch and ease it off. And again. Again, it's a strong stretch, so be careful with this one. And the hamstring is already on stretch, and you bring that toe up. That can be pretty intense. Okay. Slowly coming up a second time with that rear thigh. Reach for the foot, navel drawn in, and sink forward with the hips. And anytime you need to reposition this lead foot for stability, you can. Might indicate you're getting deeper into that stretch. Breathe. And gently pulling that heel towards the hip. Good. Again, keep those breaths going. Sitting back, release the foot and down, hinging at the hip into that hamstring stretch. Second of 2 on this side. Once again, I'm tilting the tailbone back and up to encourage more stretch. Hamstrings on their own first. And now, gently getting the toe to come up, very slowly. Easing off. It's likely to feel a bit easier the second time, but still take care with this one. One more. Good. Alright. Slowly coming up to standing. I'm going to roll the shoulders around, low to high, front to back. Deep breath to finish. I hope you're feeling really good, really nice and loose and limber after that mobility workout. I certainly do. I will see you very soon for another fantastic workout.